Thursday, September 26th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a 5-alarm fire in Stamford, vandalism at a local Hindu temple, and more. Frank Granito will have a look at your forecast and later on a Nutmeg sports update. And as always, Donald Dang will join us later to take a look back on this day in history. But first, Stamford firefighters battled a 5-alarm blaze Monday evening that engulfed 2 houses on Alden Street. That fire broke out around 5:45 p.m. on Alden Street near the Stamford Hospital. Now, neighbors told the Stamford Advocate that they rescued 2 people who were stranded on the roof of one of those burning homes. The Stamford Fire Department shared this photo of the blaze and said all units were on the scene for an extended period of time. Firefighters said the very congested neighborhood led to some significant challenges for firefighters. Now, according to the Advocate, the scene was starting to clear by around 7 p.m., but smoke billowed throughout the area, including into the nearby hospital. Now, firefighters thanked Stamford EMS and police for helping at the scene. No word yet on the cause or if there were any injuries. In other news, Wilton police are investigating a case of vandalism reported late in the day Monday at the Hindu Mandir Temple, the local Hindu temple on Westport Road. A glass window was broken, perhaps by a rock, according to Swami Bhagopal, spiritual leader of the temple. Now, the Swami said police arrived just before 4 p.m. in the afternoon. He discovered the damage Monday, but it may have occurred earlier. He had no idea who did it or why, and it was the first act of vandalism in 3 years that the temple has been in town. You can get more details at wiltonbulletin.com. In other news, 2 Connecticut state troopers who are charged in connection with the beating of a man in Wethersfield while off duty have been fired. State police say that Rupert Laird of Manchester and Xavier Cruz of Wethersfield were terminated effective this week. They face charges including kidnapping and assault. Court documents say Laird was upset that the man improperly touched a woman Laird knows, and Laird beat the victim in Cruz's home while Cruz watched back on February 18th. Laird's lawyer tells the Hartford Courant that he will appeal the decision. Cruz's lawyer could not be reached for comment. Both troopers were placed on house arrest after posting $750,000 bonds. They're now due back in court on November 13th. And New Canaan police arrested a second man for burglary and larceny that occurred back in August. Police say Norwalk resident Marlo Nain Aguirre, 29 years old, was one of the men who stole an estimated $1,800 worth of jewelry from a Smith Ridge Road home, and it took place back in August. Now, on August 15th, New Canaan police were dispatched to the residence on Smith Ridge Road on a report of a burglary. Multiple pieces of jewelry were missing with a total value of about $1,800. Now, on August 17th, Darien police responded to an attempted burglary in which the potential victim had written down the license plate of the assailants. Later that day, Norwalk police, with the help of that license plate number, found Aguirre and his alleged accomplice, Sione Bonilla, 35 years old and also from Norwalk. Bonilla's vehicle was searched and the distinct piece of jewelry that was stolen from the New Canaan resident was found. At that time, New Canaan investigators questioned the men, and they say both confessed to the burglary on Smith Ridge Road. On Monday, New Canaan police traveled to Stamford Court to serve Aguirre with the arrest warrants. Bonilla had been previously arrested. And Easton police say a ghost hunter landed in some trouble recently. An Easton police officer on patrol located the driver of a suspicious car that was parked and unoccupied on Church Road on September 22nd, just before midnight. The owner of the vehicle was reportedly taking photographs in the historic Union Cemetery. Now, according to local legend, the graveyard is haunted, and many amateur ghost hunters attempt to capture photo evidence of those hauntings. Now, the officer issued the driver a verbal warning for simple trespass and sent him on his way. Union Cemetery is closed from sunset to sunrise. Police monitor that cemetery, which dates back to the 1700s, for violations year-round, and they also step up patrols around Halloween. And a new London woman was arrested on drug charges after she was found walking on the highway in Marlborough on Monday afternoon. Police say around 3:40 p.m., troopers responded to Route 2 eastbound near exit 15 for a pedestrian walking on the highway. Troopers found that pedestrian, 28-year-old Cara Burrill, and after speaking with her, were able to determine that she was in possession of drugs. Police say fentanyl, cocaine, and crack cocaine, as well as pure heroin bundles, and drug paraphernalia were found on her. Burrill was arrested and charged with illegal possession of narcotics, possession of drug paraphernalia, and was released after posting a $10,000 bond. She will appear in court on October 13th. And mosquitoes trapped at the Garter Road trapping station in Monroe on September 18th have tested positive for the West Nile virus, according to a state mosquito management program released yesterday. Now, Dr. Philip Armstrong, director of the mosquito surveillance program, said that this is the first such positive test in Monroe to be identified by the State Agricultural Experiment Station this year. He said although it is late in the season, mosquitoes will continue to be active until the first hard frost. He encourages everyone to take precautions and protect themselves from mosquito bites. Well, speaking of the temperatures, going to throw it over now to Frank Granito for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Well, thank you, Kate. And the temperatures are going to be back up high again. We're looking at numbers right around 83, but that's going to feel more like 95 with the humidity, as conditions are going to be muggy and mild heading into tonight. We'll see partly sunny skies throughout the afternoon and then overcast conditions tonight. Still mild out, and we'll see some patches of fog in the early morning hours that are going to carry into Wednesday morning's commute. Overnight fog continues into tomorrow morning before breaking for periods of sun and clouds throughout the afternoon. Humid out again tomorrow, temperatures in the low to mid 80s, again feeling more like 93, 95. Mild overnight, low cloud cover, and temperatures falling down to around 65 degrees. Less humid on Thursday, thankfully, and cooler out thanks to wind gusts around 20 miles per hour. Partly sunny skies and temperatures in the low to mid 70s, and it's going to feel a lot cooler as well. Skies will begin to clear through Thursday evening. We're going to see clear skies and cool conditions overnight. Temperatures could drop down to as low as 48, 49 degrees before Friday morning. That's going to do it for this weather update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Don Lang will join us to take a look back on this day in history. Then Frank will have your Nutmeg sports update, and we have some more local news coming up after this.
Have you ever thought about owning a motor coach or learning about what it's like to travel the open road in superior style and comfort? Then contact Dave's RV Center in Danbury, Connecticut. Offering the best quality Class A motorhomes from Newmar, travel trailers and fifth wheel lines from Surveyor, and a toy hauler line from Work and Play. Choose from Newmar's Gas Line, Baystar and Canyon Star, or from Newmar's Diesel Line, Ventana and Dutch Star. And with unparalleled service and maintenance, Dave's RV is committed to keeping you and your motor coach safely on the road and enjoying it to the fullest. Stop by their showroom, 2 Industrial Plaza Road, Danbury, Connecticut, or call 877-483-3866.
At Portofino Restaurant and Wine Bar in Bethel, fresh and simple food is our concept. Owned and operated by brothers Rocco and Louie, Portofino has a distinct and diverse food and drink menu. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Come join us for live local music on Tuesdays and Sundays, Wednesday nights for mouthwatering prime rib, and every Thursday night is ladies' night. Planning a party? All our catering menus are personalized to suit your event and your budget. Join us at the Dolan Plaza, 213 Greenwood Ave, Bethel, and call us at 203-797-8131. Like us on Facebook. Dr. Stephen Molinaro and Peter Healy of Family Practice Dentistry and Laser Dental Care have served Ridgefield for over 22 years. Experienced staff offer gentle drillless techniques, preventative care, and cosmetic procedures in a relaxed environment. Grateful for the community's trust and support through the years, new patients and their families are welcome. Call today.
At Art Play in Ridgefield, we encourage students at a young age to unleash their creativity. Art Play is about hands-on exploration of mixed media, acrylic, and collage for ages 4 to 12. Older kids welcome. Classes meet weekly at Jesse Lee Church, Main Street, Ridgefield. Find us on Facebook at Art Play at Jesse Lee. Whether you're looking for a great test prep program, tutoring to boost your grades, or a blast-off tour with the college of your dreams, C2 Education is here to help. There is nothing one-size-fits-all about our programs. We offer customized tutoring and test prep for each student. Call us today at 203-423-3328. Welcome back to this September 26th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang to get a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, this day saw the birth of a presidential tradition, though it's not as long ago as you might think. First, though, we go back to 1789 for another presidential tradition, the naming of a cabinet. Thomas Jefferson appointed Secretary of State John Jay, Chief Justice of the U.S., Samuel Osgood, the first Postmaster General, and Edmund Jennings Randolph appointed the first Attorney General. That is Washington there with Jefferson, second from the left, and that's actually Randolph, who has his back turned. Now we go to 1905. Albert Einstein publishes his first paper on the special theory of relativity. That's it right there, part of it anyway. There are 2 main points. One of them is that the laws of physics are invariant. That means they always apply. The other main point is that the speed of light is constant regardless of the source and the observer. What does that mean? Well, if I'm standing on a bus going 60 miles an hour and I throw a ball at 60 miles an hour, a person on the bus will see the ball's movement differently than someone standing on the ground. That is, the motion of the ball is relative. But with special relativity, Einstein said, that doesn't happen with light. Light is always traveling at the speed of light, regardless of where you observe it. It doesn't make sense intuitively, but it's true. If you don't believe me, you can check the equation right there. 1934. The steamship RMS Queen Mary is launched with luxuries including 2 indoor pools, some libraries, piano rooms, and, this was not a coincidence, a Jewish prayer room to distinguish it from the German ocean liners that had dominated the ocean trade. Queen Mary and her sister ship Queen Elizabeth provided transatlantic service until the late 1960s, including carrying 765,000 troops across the Atlantic in World War II. You can still step aboard Queen Mary, although you won't go anywhere unless things go dramatically wrong. It has been docked in Long Beach, California since 1971, where it serves as a floating hotel, restaurant district, and maritime museum. Finally, now we go to 1960 for this.
There is no certain road to the presidency. There are no guarantees that if you take one road or another that you will be a successful president. I have been in the Congress for 14 years. I have voted in the last 8 years, and the Vice President was presiding over the Senate and meeting his other responsibilities. I have met decisions over 800 times on matters which affect not only the domestic security of the United States, but as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. The question really is, which candidate and which party can meet the problems that the United States is going to face in the 60s?
The first Kennedy-Nixon debate in 1960, the first between presidential candidates in history, by the way. Nixon, famously pale and sweaty, having just gotten out of the hospital after injuring his knee, and also because he'd campaigned in all 50 states prior to the debate. Viewers gave the debate to Kennedy, and although Nixon did better in the 3 follow-up debates, Lyndon Johnson in 64 and Nixon again in 68 and 72 refused to participate in any presidential debates. The tradition of presidential candidates debating really only dates back to 1976. That is your look back in history for today, September 26th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, in other local news, 62-year-old Democrat Brian Anderson, a Milford alderman and currently a public school teacher in the Bronx, has made a decision to run for the seat in Connecticut's 3rd Congressional District, long held by U.S. Representative Rosa DeLauro, who's also a Democrat. Now, the decision, Anderson said, has more to do with change than with unseating an incumbent and a fellow Democrat. Anderson told the Milford Mirror, "We're in a time of transition in society and government." He said the average person is tired of the lack of solutions and they want to see some change. Now, Anderson, a former New Haven alderman, has already gotten a seeming nod from a longtime New Haven journalist, Paul Bass, who wrote in the New Haven Independent on Sunday that Anderson's bid marks a real challenge for DeLauro. Now, a community and political activist from a young age, Anderson said he holds the distinction of being elected to local public office in Hamden, New Haven, and Milford. He said each win made history and broke records. He was only 18 when he was elected a constable in Hamden, and he said he quietly became Milford's first African-American alderman in 2011, a first that Democratic Town Committee Chairman Rich Smith is working to verify. He said he also identifies as part of the LGBTQ community. But there's a lot more on Anderson's background at milfordmirror.com. Let's throw it back over to Frank Granito now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. And we are getting ready for some girls soccer on the HAN Network this afternoon. We're going to see Norwalk traveling up to Kennedy Stadium in Bridgeport to take on the Bridgeport Central Hilltoppers. Game with 2 teams looking to gain a little bit of momentum in the conference. Pre-game coverage will start at 3:45. Yesterday in girls soccer, Fairfield Ward was a 1-0 winner over Wilton thanks to Lauren Tangney's goal. Ridgefield and Brian McMahon played to a 2-2 draw. Peyton McNamara had 2 goals for the Senators. In boys soccer yesterday, Staples blanked Greenwich 1-0. Central and Norwalk played to a 1-1 draw. Trumbull shut out New Canaan 1-0. Stanford 4 over Darien 3. Ridgefield a big win 6-0 over Brian McMahon. JT Ciano had 3 goals in that one. Wilton and Ward played to a 1-1 tie. Danbury 2, St. Joe's 0, and West Hill over city rival Trinity Catholic 8-0. We'll take you through all these scores again in our pregame show this afternoon. That'll do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's go back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Well, a developer seeking to build an affordable housing complex on James Farm Road in Stratford has pulled that application. Applicant 500 North Ave LLC withdrew its plans on Monday for an affordable housing complex at 795 James Farms Road. That, according to Planning and Zoning Administrator Jay Habansky. Now, the applicant was on the agenda for Tuesday's Zoning Commission meeting, requesting a text amendment that would have amended the fee schedule to exempt projects filed under the state statute 8-30G from fees when submitting applications. Now, no reason for the withdrawal was included, Habansky said. It's unclear if the applicant will apply again. Now, the Zoning Commission voted in May unanimously to deny an application from that applicant to use 35,000 cubic yards of fill for grading purposes at the James Farm Road site. Now, commissioners voted last November to reject a 60-unit affordable housing complex. You can get more information at stratfordstar.com. And in Ridgefield, the potential transfer of Ridgebury Cemetery to town ownership at no cost to taxpayers will go to a public hearing tomorrow, September 27th at 7:30 p.m. in Town Hall. Now, Ridgebury Cemetery is a pre-Revolutionary War cemetery located at 655 Ridgebury Road. It comprises 3 acres and contains over 700 graves. It's also the final resting place of many Keelers who were among the early settlers of Ridgefield. The first burial based on inventory of gravestones back in 1960 was that of Ruth Smith Keeler in 1734. Now, the town would become new owner and operator of Ridgebury Cemetery under a proposed initiated by the Ridgebury Cemetery Association, which is a nonprofit that has managed the cemetery since 1961. The plan was discussed briefly by selectmen, and before that, on June 7th, the town's Graveyard Restoration Committee, volunteers appointed by selectmen, would add the cemetery to the several old graveyards that they currently look after. More on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And members of the Darien Fire Department and Darien High School baseball team were represented at the annual Tunnel to Towers run last weekend in New York City. Now, that run is dedicated to Staten Island fireman Steven Siller, who had just gotten off the late shift on September 11th when he heard that a plane had hit the World Trade Center. Now, he turned around to head back to help, but the Battery Tunnel was already closed. With 60 pounds of gear on his back, he ran through the tunnel to head to the site where he later lost his life. Now, many first responders do that annual run in full gear. The race, which starts in Brooklyn and goes through the Battery Tunnel to Lower Manhattan, has over 30,000 runners and honors Siller. You can get more information at thedarientimes.com. All right, we're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories we're following today after this.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care gives you direct access to orthopedic specialists fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Orthopedics Walk-In Urgent Care can help. Open 7 days a week now at 3 locations. The iPark Building at 761 Main Avenue, Norwalk, 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien, or in the Westport Medical Center at 323 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Go to coastalorthoct.com. Like them on Facebook.
At the office of Dr. David Oshero of Darien, we provide high-quality and personalized orthodontic treatment in a professional and caring environment. We make treatment fun for our young patients and believe it's never too late to have a healthy and beautiful smile. Call now for an appointment and find out more at droshero.com.
The leaves are changing, water temps dropping, and the sun is setting a little earlier each day. But there's still a lot of great boating, fishing, and coast time left before we see the first snow. And above all, remember, it's always summer at the Dock Shop. With loads of new fishing tackle and accessories, clothing, jewelry, and home decor, the Dock Shop is just what you need when you start to feel that New England autumn chill. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, dockshop.com.
I'm Tracy Masella, a licensed clinical social worker at Silver Hill Hospital in New Canaan. Join me each month as we talk with experts on the front lines of the treatment of mental health and addiction. Straight Talk with Tracy, a Silver Hill Hospital production, airs at 12 p.m. on the second Thursday of each month here on the HAN network.
back to this Tuesday edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. Stamford firefighters battled a 5-alarm blaze Monday evening that engulfed 2 homes on Alden Street. Now, that fire broke out around 5:45 p.m. near Stamford Hospital. Neighbors told the Stamford Advocate that they rescued 2 people who were stranded on the roof of one of those burning homes. Now, the Stamford Fire Department shared photos of the blaze and said all units were on the scene for an extended period of time. Firefighters said that the very congested neighborhood led to some significant challenges for firefighters. According to the Advocate, that scene was starting to clear by 7 p.m., but smoke billowed throughout the area, including into the nearby hospital. Firefighters also thanked Stamford EMS and police for helping at the scene. No word yet on the cause or if there were any injuries. And Wilton police are investigating a case of vandalism reported late in the day Monday at the Hindu Mandir Temple, the local Hindu temple on Westport Road. A glass window was broken, perhaps by a rock, according to Swami Bhagopal, spiritual leader of that temple. The Swami said police arrived just before 4 p.m. He discovered the damage on Monday, but it may have occurred earlier. He said he had no idea who did it or why. It was the first act of vandalism in the 3 years that the temple has been in town. And 2 Connecticut state troopers who are charged in connection with the beating of a man in Wethersfield while off duty have been fired. State police say Rupert Laird of Manchester and Xavier Cruz of Wethersfield were terminated effective this week. They face charges including kidnapping and assault. Court documents say Laird was upset that the man improperly touched a woman that Laird knows, and Laird beat the victim in Cruz's home while Cruz watched back on February 18th. Laird's lawyer tells the Hartford Courant that he will appeal the decision. Cruz's lawyer could not be reached for comment. Both troopers were placed on house arrest after posting $750,000 bonds. They're due back in court on November 13th. And New Canaan police arrested a second man for a burglary and larceny that occurred back in August. Police say Norwalk resident Marlo Nain Aguirre, 29 years old, was one of the men who stole an estimated $1,800 worth of jewelry from a Smith Ridge Road home. Back on August 15th, New Canaan police were dispatched to that residence on a report of a burglary. Multiple pieces of jewelry were missing with a total value of about $1,800. Now, on August 17th, Darien police responded to an attempted burglary in which the victim had written down the license plate of the assailants. Later that day, Norwalk police, with the help of that license plate number, found Aguirre and his alleged accomplice, Sione Bonilla, who's 35 years old and from Norwalk. Now, Bonilla's vehicle was searched and a distinct piece of jewelry that was stolen from the New Canaan home was found. At that time, New Canaan police investigators questioned the men, and they say both confessed to the burglary in New Canaan. On Monday, September 25th, New Canaan police traveled to Stamford Court to serve Aguirre with the arrest warrants. Bonilla had been previously arrested. And Easton police say a ghost hunter landed in some trouble recently. An Easton police officer on patrol located the driver of a suspicious car that was parked and unoccupied on Church Road on September 22nd, just before midnight. The owner of the vehicle was taking photographs in the historic Union Cemetery, police said. Now, according to local legend, the graveyard is haunted and many amateur ghost hunters attempt to capture evidence of those hauntings. Now, the officer issued the driver a verbal warning for simple trespass and sent him on his way. Union Cemetery is closed from sunset to sunrise. Police monitor the cemetery, which dates back to the 1700s, for violations year-round, and they step up those patrols around Halloween. All right, let's get one final look at the forecast with Frank Granito. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. It's going to be another warm one out today with partly sunny skies expected through the afternoon. A high of 83 is going to feel more like 90 degrees with humidity, and conditions are going to be very muggy and mild heading into tonight. Mild and overcast tonight, and there'll be some patches of fog moving in the early morning hours that carry into our Wednesday morning commute. Overnight fog again tomorrow morning, and that's going to break for periods of sun and clouds. It'll be humid tomorrow. Numbers could feel as high as 96, 97 with real temperatures right around 83 degrees. Mild again, low cloud cover tomorrow night and temperatures falling down to 65 degrees. Hopefully, though, Thursday is going to be a lot less cooler out there, less humid, a strong breeze around 20 miles per hour, partly sunny skies. Temperatures should sit in the low to mid 70s during the day. Skies will clear up overnight as we see temperatures falling all the way down into the high 40s before Friday morning. That'll do it for this finer weather update. We're at Bridgeport Central this afternoon for girls soccer, Norwalk and the Hilltoppers. Kickoff is at 4. We'll be on the air at 3:45, Kate.
All right, great. And coming up at 12:30, The Drive with Denise. She welcomes guest Pamela Lewis, who's the founder and executive director of Connect Us. That coming up at 12:30. And we'll see you tomorrow for your coffee break at 11. Have a great day.